Corey, you want to do another SATechDad podcast?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good, man. Let's do that.
All right, well, let's do another San Antonio Tech Dad podcast. I'm Alan, that's Corey, and we are back live again with another podcast. How was your break, Corey? I haven't talked to you since last year.
So yeah, right. Like we've traversed time and space at this point. It was good. It was good. Went to home, visited family. That was good. Went to Las Vegas and hung out with everybody. Went to Mount Charleston. We had like 15 people, 3 sets of families all there, just catching up. Kids had a great time. Unfortunately, got in a car accident for New Year's. So like got back into town and like that day, the following day, got in a car accident. So that was a Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, man. Well,
other than that, my New Year's was uneventful. Sat on the couch, watched TV.
Well, that's It
was nice. How about you?
That's good. Yeah, not too bad. Stayed around here. In-laws came to us, which was nice. Santa delivered a lot of presents, and that was interesting. Yeah, I had a pretty time. Oh, I saw a movie. I don't know if you've heard about this. There's a new Star Wars movie out.
That was out. Was that out?
Yeah, it's out. It's out. No, it was good. We watched it on Christmas Day. It was tough to stay away from all of the talk. But I think at this point it's New Year's. Everybody that's seen it's probably gonna have already seen it. So.
At this point, okay, yeah, and we don't have to spoil anything, but be like, listen, if we make Star Wars reference,
yeah,
it's gonna happen. So I've seen it at this point 3 times now.
3 times. I need to go back and see it a couple more times.
So I went and saw it at the Alamo Draft House, where you can get food and beer and beverage and whatever, which is fun because they have a whole intro thing, which is they have classic Star Wars. They show like other international people, international countries, how they react to Star Wars. And then they have like the horrendous Christmas special. So there's all these like little nuances and just how much Star Wars has been in our pop culture, which is just an experience in itself before the movie even starts. I saw it at Draft House. I saw it at the Santigos Plaza here in downtown San Antonio, which was beautiful. It was fun. But then I went and saw it in 3D because I wanted to see what the difference was. And it's not that impactful, but I feel I have to see it one more time.
Yeah, so we saw it 3D IMAX,
right,
and it was gorgeous. It was very well done. The CGI was incredibly minimal. In fact, I think most of the CGI was things falling at you in 3D, right, popping out of the screen at you. So there was a bit of that. I thought it was a beautiful movie. It was a big giant apology to all the fans that stuck around after the last round of sequels or prequels, and then it was a way to let the younger generations experience the magic. I saw somewhere recently that it has now been longer between Episode 3 and current day than it was between Return of the Jedi and Episode 1.
Wow.
So yeah. So like there's been more time has passed since that. And so there's really an entire generation that hasn't had a chance to see it. So it really it was a great experience. I remember the first movie I saw in a theater was Return of the Jedi with my dad 30 some odd years ago, and remember seeing that in the theater. I don't think it was the original release, but it was shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And saw it with him, and so to see it with my own son 30 years later was a great experience. He is just loves it and is going to be a big fan for a long time. So
yeah,
I'm really glad to get that experience.
I want to see it in 4K is what I want to see it in. I hear that there's a substantial difference between 3D, between the regular version, and between the 4K. Like it's supposed to be just beautiful. And after seeing Hateful Eight, the new Quentin Tarantino movie, in 70 millimeter,
right,
there is a substantial difference when watching. So visually, it's just stunning. And I think I still need to see it that way and see what one more time to see Star Wars. What's the worst that could happen? So, but we'll see. Maybe I'll report back.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting idea is what are the differences there, and what are the better ways to watch it? I mean, it's interesting when you're watching with a young kid. I mean, the glasses don't fit right, and I didn't really think about that aspect of it. We just grabbed some tickets, and that's what it happened to be. Yeah, I definitely want to see it, the Star Wars in the higher def versions and see what those differences are. Um, but yeah, no, I was a big fan. The Force is absolutely awake, and I can't wait to see what it does now that it's been awake for a couple of years or a couple of weeks. So
Yeah, I got to work the next day, and I spent the entire day theory crafting what the new movie was going to be, and so much talk, so much talk.
So much talk. So much talk. So if
Yeah.
you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Take your kids, go see it. They'll love it.
Take your family, take your in-laws, take whoever's in town still. Just take them. Just go.
Go out of town, get somebody, bring them back, and take them.
Bring them back, take them to see Star Wars.
Yes, absolutely. Good suggestion there. How'd Santa do for you guys?
So Santa did really well this year. My kids made out like bandits. But one of the things that we were going to talk about is, and this applies, is that my son, Santa brought him a Kindle. He got one of those. So they have kid Kindles, right? Basically, they come with like a cool rubber case. It's a Kindle Fire, but it's smaller. It's only got 5 gigs of storage space on it because it's built for like kid apps. And they have the free subscription for like a year. You can download all the apps. You can stream all the stuff. Netflix wasn't on there, which I thought was interesting. It's got some episodes of shows in certain seasons, like Curious George 1 and 2, but it doesn't have an actual native Netflix Kids app, which I thought was an opportunity missed. But one of the things we want to talk about was the device itself. Like, how does that happen? Like, you just open it up and be like, "Hey, son, Merry Christmas! Santa brought you a Kindle.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything with it, so let's do all the downloads and the charging. And I know you want to play with it, but it's not ready."
Right. I mean, you have to do a lot of prep work before you actually hand it over. I think that's the thing. We did the same thing. For a few of them, it's not like you give a kid a yo-yo or something like that. You stick it on their finger and they throw it up and down until they hit their brother in the face, and then you take it away. I mean, like that's how you work it. So something like that, especially you're talking about a Kindle, which needs to have an account of some type tied to it, right? So so you got to figure that out. And there's so many different things. It's beyond just charging it up. I mean, I've bought remote control cars before. We charge the battery. Okay, well that's easy enough, right? The battery, it's there. Here you go. Here it is. You put the batteries into the controller and it's ready to go. It's something that has an account, and I mean this one has a lot of kid settings already. But I mean I've taken Android tablets and added additional kid settings on top of that. So there's a lot of things that need to be done together to put that in. So it can be a bit of a hassle. Were there any lessons learned that you saw from that you might want to share with everybody else?
Definitely charge it beforehand. It's a pro tip, because you don't want to be like holding it up and, "No, son, you can't play with this yet. It's not ready." Or just hand it to him and be like, "It's dead, Dad. I know, I have to charge it." And just try and preload as much stuff as you can on devices like that. Just, download a couple things. When we got it, we actually hopped on a plane on Christmas Day to go to Las Vegas, and not too many things were, tried to rush to download a couple things before we got on the plane, and not everything downloaded successfully. So we had a couple apps on it. Like, it got him through the 3.5-hour flight, but I feel if I had a little bit more time, what I would do next time is I would open it up, install it, get everything configured so that it's out of the box, ready to go, that morning. So.
What are some of the games that he likes on it? He's 3. Is he 3
He'll
yet?
be 3 at the end of this month.
Okay.
So some of the games he likes is like some of the games that he plays, I think that are like we play. There's a very famous game that everybody's made a knockoff of where you move the pieces out of the way. Like, it's usually like a traffic game, and you got to get the car out of traffic.
Yeah.
Or like you get a train out of there. Thomas does one, Thomas the Train, and he has got to get the train just through, and he loves it, and he solves it, and I'm like, okay. All right. Good job, son. And then we've sat there a couple times. He's like, "Dad, help me," and I'm like, "Well, can I take this for a couple minutes? I'll be right back." And, for like 20 minutes, I'll get this one. Hold on. So that's a big one. There's another game that Toca TOCA makes a lot of titles for games for kids. between Toka Hair Salon, Toka House, and they have like all these little characters and they're all the same thing. Well, they have a Toka train, and his obsession right now is trains. And this one's very cool. So it's a first-person view, and he's a conductor on a train, and he has a little bar up on the side that he can turn up and down from 1 to 5, and it speeds the train up and slows the train down. And it comes to little checkpoints, and it'll hit something like a little thing will flash and say, slow down. And he slows it down to a stop, and it loads passengers, or it loads something that you need to ship to the next town. And then he's all like, got my thing. And then he takes off again. And then you get to the next town, you dump everything off and then do it again. He loves it. And I'm like, it's just a circle. It's just, that's all it is. It's just constant repetitiveness. But the idea of him having control over a train.
Right.
Is just mind-blowing for him. So he loves that game to death. And I was, good job, Toka, because that's an hour of my time that I'm like, here, son. But he's like, yes, 5, slow down, 5, slow down. And, you know, it's good.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll have to check those out. So Toka, you said. T-O-C-A.
Yeah, Toka, T-O-C-A, Toka.
Check those out. Yeah, no, the one that my 2-year-old likes right now is it's Elmo ABCs. It's on an iPad, and so it's, you know, you choose a letter, and then there's some little thing. Elmo talks about the letter, and then you can choose like a classic Sesame Street clip about it. And the one that we just loves right now, it's Bert and Ernie, and Ernie's sitting there, and he's got a banana in his ear, and Bert says, "Ernie, you got to take the banana out of your ear," and then Ernie says, "What?" And Bert says, "Ernie, you have to take the banana out of your ear." And then Ernie says, "Bert, you have to speak a little bit louder. I can't hear you because I have a banana in my ear." And it just cracks him up all the time, and it cracks me up too. It's classic. It's really good stuff, and it's really the classic stuff. It's Jim Henson and Frank Oz performing as Bert and Ernie, so it's a really good version of that. But that's the soundtrack in our house some days is awesome. Ernie with a banana in his ear. So
that is awesome. Yeah. So another life lesson: batteries. Yes. Even if you don't think the thing's going to take batteries, I stockpiled a whole thing of AA's and AAA's. Mm-hmm. And just again, there were things that we opened up that was like, hey, you need batteries. We didn't say that on the box, but you told me you need batteries.
Yeah. Well, the one that got me was like it was small. I was like, okay, it's going to take a AA battery. It's like, nope, it takes 1 C battery. I was like, okay, it's taking 3 AA's, but it's going to take 1 C battery. So we had to go and find that. But yeah, no, batteries are the biggest, the biggest things you need to do.
One of my pet peeves is you always get that one device that has like a 9-volt. But nobody has a 9-volt anymore ever, and you're going to the store, you're like, you got 9-volt batteries? They're like, no. Nope. What's that look like? It's a small box about this big.
Stick your tongue out, it'll shock you.
Yeah, it's great. But when we were kids, yeah.
Well, cool. Any other tips, tricks, concerns about getting your tech ready for Christmas?
No, those are pretty much the pro tips that I have. I've read a horror story about a guy who got an iPhone for one of his kids for Christmas, and totally spoiled the surprise because he did it. He got it pre-configured and everything else, but he left it on and then wrapped it. So, and it got like a message just saying that it was activated. And of course the kids are there at the tree doing whatever, and like, ding! And it's a very specific sound for iPhone. So it's like, I know what this is. So he's like, make sure your devices are turned off before you wrap them. But because there's got to be a better way to do this. But just kind of pre-plan a little bit. Think about what you're wrapping first.
Well, the other pitfall that we hit is my 5-year-old son, wanted to get a video game for us to play together on the Xbox. So we went to GameStop, and he and my wife were shopping, and they were looking around and they found Plants vs. Zombies, and like, okay, cool. And because we've played that before, and he likes it and wants to play it on the Xbox this time. Okay, great. So we get it, and he brings it home and wraps it up. And what could this be? I wonder what this is. And so open it up, and sure enough, it's a video game. But it requires for 2 players, it requires that not just one, but both accounts have an active Xbox Live Gold account. To play it at all, to play even co-op. So we were not happy about that.
Not at all.
No, so that was something that my wife. She's not a gamer. She doesn't even understand that stuff. Obviously, my 5-year-old son doesn't think about those things. So just one of those things to watch out for in the future. But yeah, I mean, it was not how we were expecting to spend that. We were expecting to be able to just jump right in and play that later.
So shopping for video games I find is hard because, and especially, I don't want to say for like the older group, but for like people that aren't gamers, because you buy a game and you're like, hey, I got this amazing game. You're like, that's great. That's the expansion. I don't have the regular game.
Right.
I can't play that.
There's so many caveats that if you're not in that ecosystem.
Or like if you're not in that space and you're not paying attention or you're not reading the box specifically for that kind of thing. So my daughter got a lot of Skylanders. So certain portals work with certain Skylanders, and some are backwards compatible, some are not. And I didn't know that. So we would, put this character on the portal and they'd show up in game where we'd put one on the portal and it'd be like, this one's not compatible with this. And I'm like, what? So I'm trying to I'm swapping them out. I'm like, which one's good? Which one's bad? Does this work with this game? And you just have to go through that kind of thing. Just go through the motions and hope for the best. But yeah, those are the small caveats that you run into, especially with tech and video games. It gets really hairy.
Yeah, exactly. It just take a little extra time to double check. I mean, you could run into any type of issues on that. You might buy an Android tablet and an iTunes gift card or something like that, and run into issues there. So double check all that. So good advice. I think you wanted to talk a little bit about the big news out of CES today.
I did. So one of the things that came out, and this is my techie thing for the holidays, is the Oculus Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, is the VR craze, right? Like we've been hearing about Oculus Rift forever. Early to the 2-aughts, everybody's like, this is the future of virtual reality. You put it on, you're gonna be able to hook it up to your computer, and you're gonna be able to run see your video game like the way that it's meant to be, which is cool, They were making money hand over fist. Carmichael, one of the developers for id Software, who does Doom and just all these great games and classic games. Well, he left the company to work on VR and work on the Oculus Rift. And John Carmichael's like, yeah, man, it's going to be great. This is the future. It's high quality. And there was a dev kit that was built. And you could go pick it up, no big deal. Or you order them online, and it's like, hey, it wasn't the prettiest thing, but it worked. It was VR. You could program it, or you could program for it if you're doing video game development. And it was about, I think it was $300. Okay, no problem. Pre-orders went live, like they're ready to deploy. You can pre-order it now, get it in a couple weeks, months, whatever, and it'll show up at your door. That's great. $600. It is twice the amount of money that a dev kit was.
Yeah, that's not quite. I don't think what people are looking to pay
for a product that's marketed for VR at home.
And I mean, I have to wonder what that equates to in terms of like an old Betamax or something like that. What that looked like. I don't know exactly what those prices are off the top of my head, but I'm sure that first generation of technology was a little bit more. But still, I mean, yeah, you're looking at twice what people were initially doing, and that's just for the headset. That is just the headset. You still need something to feed into it, right? So you're looking at a $1,200 to $1,500 gaming rig to run it off of. And then there's probably going to be some type of, okay, well, great, now you've got this thing that completely immerses you. Put your hands on the keyboard to walk around. Well, you're going to have to find something else to do your movement. I saw some HTC, I think, made some really interesting 3D movement controllers, which look pretty interesting. Really want to see how those work. And then
it's the HTC Vive, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and that's gonna be expensive too. But if you think about it, like even just hooking it up to your PC, like you said, you got a $1,200 to $1,500 PC just to run the thing and have this wonderful experience.
Right.
Then you have this device, and then you have all the games that you're buying for it, specifically for this device. You're almost $2,000 in the hole for VR. Now, what makes this a very interesting concept is because this is the cost. This is more than a console. This is more than a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One right now. Like, it's higher. But PlayStation has going to work on making VR right now. They announced at E3 and the video game show they were going to make PlayStation VR, and they've been working really hard. If they can get their headset at around $300, you could buy a brand new PlayStation 4, a brand new headset for $700.
Yeah, total.
So, I mean, they could really be in a good position to take over the VR market just based off that alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do that. I mean, you're looking at $1,000 for a PlayStation and 2 helmets and 2 controllers.
Yep.
And I'm sure they'd probably put in some sort of price break on that. But that would be very interesting to play in multiplayer games that are completely immersive. I mean, any game really would be completely immersive would be interesting. So, that's really interesting to see how it would be. Yeah, you could cut that price in half. And the thing is, a lot of people. I guess a lot of people already have some type of a system that they can play it on, either a console that might come in the future or a gaming rig, but a gaming desktop. But I mean, they would potentially have to upgrade it too. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, what are you going to do? So,
yeah,
interesting it works.
I'm curious to see if there's going to be a huge price drop. Are we going to see them all come out and be $600 initially, and then a year, 2 years down the road, they're $200? Like, they make a big drop because they're either not selling enough or they just mass produce them and they're easier to get a hold of. I mean, the future of VR looks very interesting because it's now reality, and like it's our kids' reality. My 10-year-old is going to be able to play in VR on a regular basis. And you have a VR machine, don't you?
I actually do. Let me pick it up right here and get it. All right. So this is speaking of price cuts. This is Google's entry into VR. It is the Google Cardboard, and they named it that because it is made out of cardboard. So I actually picked this up for free, but you can pay $20 to pick up an actual version of it. So it's this cardboard kit that you can use to actually incorporate your own cell phone, right? So you take your smartphone, and that becomes the viewing screen. So it's got these 2 little lenses right here to help kind of focus that. Little cutout for your nose. It's got a little button on the top here that you push to advance the action. So it's got this nice little fold-away kind of build-it-yourself thing here. Take your excuse me. You take your phone and you just drop it right in there, like so. And boom. All right, so there it is. So it's in there. I guess I should turn on cardboard first before I do that. But you just do that. And it's got a couple of different things. So one thing that I just think is just fascinating is they have recently set up Google Street View. Anything on Google Street View you can look at through cardboard. So if you're going to a new place, you can just drop yourself in and take a look at it. Say, hey, here's what this looks like. Yeah, it's really neat. It's really neat. So I don't know how much you can see through there. But there's actually there's something going on in there, so you can see.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. So it's fun. They've got a little movie. It's just like this little movie of this mouse, and his hat flies off in the wind. He's walking around. He's wearing a hat. The wind blows his hat off, and he tries to chase it around, and the hat swirls around and goes behind you. So you're trying to follow it around and find the hat and keep in touch with it. So that's really interesting. And then one thing that I haven't had a chance to try yet, but they have a cardboard photosphere thing where you go and you take your phone and you without the cardboard on it, you take your phone and you take a picture and you move it around and you kind of get an idea of what the environment's like, and then you save that. You take as many as you want. It records the audio as well, so you can go out to the woods, a nice babbling brook, and some beautiful trees and things like that. Take a nice 3D picture, and then you come home and you say, hey, this is where we were. This is our campsite. And put it in, and people can go around and look at it. So,
wow.
I mean, you look a little silly while you're looking around and looking at stuff, but
you say you look silly. But have you seen the Oculus Rift?
The Oculus
is that
it's bigger than this, yeah,
this big.
Yeah. But it's VR, it's immersive reality. This, I don't think that you're going to end up with the with the same type of nausea that some people get. Yeah, I think because it's you can feel it on your face. It's not quite as immersive, right? So it's not the full screen across your face. This is a little bit different. But this is a really, really neat little gadget, especially for the price of free. Kids love it. They love watching the mouse. They love looking around. There was a street view type of a tour of the Palace of Versailles, and I mean, just you can go around, look around, and it's neat stuff. And, what else do they really like on there? I think those are the main ones. But those are the main ones we played with. But man, they really want to. Oh, Star Wars had a ton of stuff. They had like this Jakku Spy, where it was like you're one of the spies that's out there on Jakku, and it was kind of this teaser that was leading up to it. And then I stopped watching it because after the movie came out, there was more content. I'm like, I'm not going to look at that. I don't want to get spoiled.
Spoilers, man.
I do not want that. So that's really interesting. So check that out if you really want to check out and see what VR is going to be like, and you don't want to spend $600 on an Oculus Rift. I recommend spending $20 on the Google Cardboard, or like $35 or $40 for their. They actually have what's it called, the ViewMaster.
Yeah, it's made by Mattel, isn't it?
It is. It's like the old school ViewMaster. Yeah, here, let me pull up a picture of it here real quick. But yeah, it's made by Mattel, and it's kind of an old, like that old school design. But it is, you actually use these discs, and what happens is when you tap the disc or you focus in on the disc, there's a little code on there, and it'll actually choose what you're going to look at. So it's kind of like the old ViewMaster where you put the disc in and you click through all the different pictures of it. But like this is an actual ViewMaster branding, and it's got the little pull tab thing on the side to change it around. So they do a lot of the same things that I was mentioning earlier, like tours and going to different locations and taking a look. But yeah, that's pretty neat. I'm really I think that's a neat way. It's a little bit more durable, it looks like, than the
cardboard.
Yeah, you could walk through the rain with that, I think, and be okay. But it's the same concept, right? Where you stick your existing cell phone into it to use it. So I think that's great. I mean, a lot of people already have some type of smartphone that's capable of it. This cardboard, the ViewMaster, they're both compatible with iPhone and Android, so you can use both of them. Probably Windows Phone too. Yeah. If anybody uses those. There's you can use both of them. It's a great way to kind of get an idea of what's coming down the road. The price is pretty high right now on full-fledged VR, but I really think that in the next couple of years it's going to come down to a very reasonable level, and it's going to be a common everyday thing for us.
You hit it on the head earlier in the conversation about how nausea and motion sickness, which I know a couple people that have tried it, the Oculus Rift itself, and can't do it because motion sickness and nausea and whatever. And I would hate for someone to spend $600 on a device that you can't use because you get sick every time you put it on your head.
Right. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to stick a bunch of these things in Best Buy and have people puking in the store? I mean, just have a bucket, and say, hey, try this thing on for 20 minutes, and if you don't puke, go ahead and spend the $600 on it.
Hey man, if you're gonna spew,
spew in this. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious. I'm gonna wait, not just for the price drop, but I want to see. It's a first run of a tech device.
It's a first run of a tech device. There are 2 or 3 different things. It's Betamax and VHS, right? You got a couple of different things, and then if Sony gets in, they're going to have their own proprietary thing, right? Because God knows I've got a mini disc player sitting around doing nothing. And
I got a PSP over there somewhere that used to nobody uses it anymore. But I think I need to wait till I see people's other reviews,
right,
and see what people's hands-on experiences are, or maybe like a buddy who spent the $600, go to his house and be like, hey man, let me check that out for a minute before I make that investment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a and figure out which ecosystem you want to live in. If they are fragmented, if there's no standard for that. I saw some really cool concept art of just a kind of fan concept art, but of like a Star Wars Rogue Squadron helmet with the VR included in it. I mean, like that. Yeah, shut up and take my money. That would be very much worth it. But if you can only get it on PlayStation, if that's what you want, well, you might want to make sure that really is the system you want to get. So
exactly,
we'll see.
And we have an event coming up that we wanted to talk about that was postponed last time we spoke, actually.
Yeah, I'm really worried, actually, to talk about this right now because every time we've ever mentioned an event on this show, it's been postponed by rain. But we're going to say it again. Right now, there's no rain in the forecast. It's the coffee festival, San Antonio Coffee Festival. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and they're actually going to be able to redo it. And so really interested to see how that goes. I'll go ahead and share the event details here. It's Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday on the 9th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Looks like quite a few people are going to be there for some coffee drinking.
Yeah, there's 11,000 people that are interested and 6.6 thousand that are going, and several of our friends look like they are. So it'll be interesting. It's at La Vita, which I think is just a great little underused section of the downtown, right near the Alamo, right near Hemisphere Park. A great little section of town that I think is underused. So it's a great place to go. Even if you just like wander by, forgotten about it, it looks like it's going to be a really nice weekend. So let's hope it is, and go by and have a couple of cups of coffee from a couple of very good local roasters.
And hope we didn't curse it.
Yeah, it's gotta stop at some point, right?
Of course. So we just keep talking about stuff until the curse is broken.
So we'll see. We'll see about that. Do you think you'll be out there?
Yeah, I think so. We have a birthday party to go to on that Saturday, but I think that we're going to go and take the kids out there. I mean, my kids love the local coffee places around here, so I think it's definitely a thing that we got to go to. Yeah,
I think it's a good family trip. Right, it's right there, right by. I mean, that's the very first thing we talked about, wasn't it? The Yanaguana Park and all of the new stuff. So
take the family, go downtown, and just check it out. I mean, and if you're a coffee fan, you kind of have to go.
Absolutely. Go do it. All right.
And last, book review. So we have one more kids book, and then I swear we'll get back into like the dad's books and like adult books again. But right now, last kids book. So my son got this for Christmas. It's called Too Hot to Hug. Oh. So my girlfriend bought this for the kids, and I'm sorry, not my girlfriend. My brother's wife bought this for the kids, and I had never read the story. And my son and I read it for the first time, and I'm reading it for the first time. And it's this cute story about a dragon, that comes into this family, like the house dog. Yeah. And he spends his times, and his mom loves him because he keeps everything warm around the house, and like he can sit on the dad's chair and keeps the dad's chair warm when he's not in it, and and he gives warm hugs and all this stuff. Well, one day they're out walking, and I guess he's getting too hot. Like he's too hot to touch, too hot to hold, basically. So everybody's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do with him?" And he's sad because nobody wants to hug him, and he can't do all the things he wants to do because he's so hot. So what do? They throw him in the tub. He falls off into a lake, and it turns out he cools off and realizes, getting in the water means that I can cool off. Well, what does that mean? Hey, I can take a bath. So like there's this whole underlying theme that maybe you're too hot, kiddo. Maybe you need to take a bath. So I got to I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, this poor dragon, his family doesn't love him. They're going to get rid of him. And then he cools down, and I'm like, oh, it's bath time. And I looked at my son, and I was like, are you too hot to hug? I was like, do we need to take a bath?
You smell too hot to hug.
You smell too hot to hug. I mean, come on. So, cute story. It's written by Steve Smallman, and C. Bisco, I believe, does the artwork. And it's absolutely a fantastic, colorful book. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out if you guys can find that.
Looks good. I think that the underlying moral of the story would be lost. Can't keep the kids out of the bathtub.
Right.
They love baths right now, but definitely keep that on hand for whenever that changes.
Well, so weird, right? So my soon-to-be 3-year-old loves baths, loves it. Can't get him out of the bathtub. He loves to be in it. He can stay in there all day long and just prune up and never get out and be just fine. And Dad, I'm okay. My 10-year-old refuses. Does not want to. And I'm like, you are 10, you can take a bath. You can take a shower, as a matter of fact. But she's completely against the idea. And every time it's even brought up, she's just like, no real reason why she doesn't want to. She just doesn't care for it or doesn't think she needs it. And I'm like, if the 3-year-old needs it, you need it. So, but enjoy this while they like their bath time.
Exactly. I need to see if they have a similar book about a dragon that is too hot to go to sleep.
Let's know if they make that book. Maybe I will review that book.
Oh yeah. Not unless I beat you to it, because that is a problem in the Bush household.
Yeah.
How do you get the kids to sleep? So I don't know. I'm gonna
sleep with kids. Getting kids to sleep has always been an issue. And just like, hey, you know what? It's bedtime, and they're like, really? And you're like, yes, because it's bedtime for me.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that just killed us is the holiday schedule of well, there's no school at all, and what day is it? I don't even know what day it is. And, so.
And us, we were traveling, so we were in a different time zone. So they were on weird schedule. We got back, and then they had to get back on a normal schedule to school in a week. And I'm just, you have to go to bed. Why? I'm not tired. Trust me, you will be. You will be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we will be. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well,
I think that's it.
That's it.
We got everything.
All done.
Look at that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
First SATechDads of the year 2016. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So hey, a big shout out to Drew, our usual third leg of the stool. He's celebrating his anniversary tonight. So happy anniversary, Drew and Kendall. Congrats. I think it's 9 years for them, if I'm not mistaken. So that's great for them. But hope to have Drew back for our next show in a couple of weeks. Corey, what do you got going on? What's going on with you?
I'm preparing. As we get closer, we'll start to talk about it more. PAX is coming up. PAX South, which is a huge video game convention that's happening out here. This will be the second year in San Antonio. They have one out in Boston for PAX East, and they have one in Seattle for PAX West, and they have one in Australia for PAX Deep South or PAX International. Okay. But they do one here in Texas. Like I said, it's the second year. They had a huge outpouring. I had took my kids. It was an absolute blast last year. I'm hoping to go and spend just as much time there as possible this year and schmooze, bump elbows with all the famous people, and play some board games for a couple days. And then shortly after that, in March, we have International Tabletop Day. So like board games start reveling up here, and I'll keep you guys in the loop as we get closer to it. But PAX is like the 29th, I think, is when it starts. So the end of January. Yeah, cool. It's just a couple weeks around the corner. So
looking forward to that. Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of your podcast. The other podcast that you're on, A Starting Point. Yeah,
Starting Point. Yep, always fun. If you guys want to hear about video games and all that stuff and news and more about the Oculus Rift, which is going to be our next episode, check us out. You can check us out at A Starting Point. That's with an A Starting Point. Or just hit me up and I'll send you the link. So
yeah, absolutely. Great show.
What are you up to these days, man?
Oh man, just the usual. So I am doing a lot of work, doing a lot of fun stuff with the family. I do improv at Comedy Sports San Antonio a couple of times a month, including this weekend. So I'm out there on Saturday at 7:30 at Comedy Sports San Antonio. Hit it up on Facebook. Hit me up on Twitter. There's my Twitter handle right there, at Alan Bush, and you can go ahead and hit me up, and I'll let you know. In fact, I actually have comp tickets, so if anybody wants to mention this show, I'll go ahead and get you a free admission to Comedy Sports San Antonio. So go ahead and throw that out there. Yeah, there it is. Boom. So doing that. Looking forward to drinking some coffee this weekend. Hopefully it'll be a really nice weekend because it's been kind of rainy and miserable like all year long. So it'd be nice to have a nice weekend and get outside with the family for a little bit. That's kind of what's going on. So it's been fun, and I guess we'll have to do this again.
So, did you hear about the kidnapping at school?
No.
Actually, I guess he woke up.
I see what you did there.
It took a second too,
right?
That's someone used that on me the other day, and I was like, and I totally did the same thing. Oh, what happened? They're like, oh, I guess he woke up, and I'm like, it took me the same reaction. I was like, oh, I'm taking that one.
Shut up.
Right? And I'm like, now I want to get my – and of course, that one's like a little bit over my kid's head, so they just look at me with a blank stare like, I don't – what? but I was like, I gotta use this one.
The kid was napping at school.
No, he's a kidnapping. Did you hear about the kidnapping? I guess he woke up. Yeah. So good stuff.
Very well played, sir. Very well.
That's my dad joke for the day. That's how we're gonna open the new year with that dad joke right there.
That's a solid one. We got some catch up to do to catch up to that one. So
good stuff. All right, man.
Sounds good. All right. Well, that was fun. I guess we'll see you next time.
Till next time.
Take it easy.